all started when I was looking for an opportunity to model for print. I always wanted to be a model or an actor, and would audition for parts and modeling gigs. Well, one day while I was cruising Craigslist for local opportunities to model, I met this woman who happened to be a preacher's wife, who said she owned a modeling agency. The woman's agency had a Christian theme and a legitimate website, so I decided to give her a shot. The woman invited me to her and her husband's church, and it all seemed to be well. They were a nice family with a great modeling business. However, it would soon be revealed that these things weren't as they seemed, and if it's too good to be true, it probably is. The lady promised me a contract and worldwide success, and because she was a good Christian woman, I believed her. Well, eventually, she called me to come to the photographer's studio to do a photo shoot. I get to the building, and all is well. I see the woman and her pastor husband talking to a group of well-dressed businessmen, while I pose for shots. I was excited at the thought of these men being able to give me my big break. They looked like they all worked for top companies. Unfortunately, I was terribly mistaken. Not only was the pastor's wife part of a sex networking scheme, she was one of the head traffickers. From the small portion of the conversation that I overheard, I quickly realized what was going on. They were negotiating a price for me, as if I were goods. This so-called good Christian modeling agency director was nothing more than a basic sex trafficking madam. I realized the dire situation I was in, as I was there at the studio alone. I pretended I had to use the restroom, and immediately called my parents. Luckily, my dad and my uncle came to pick me up, and potentially saved my life. We reported the woman and her husband to the police, but nothing much has come of the investigation so far. I'm thankful every day I was able to get out of that situation, and that I have my life and my freedom. A few years back when I was in college, I was selling the previous semester's required textbooks on Craigslist. I was a college student, so I definitely needed whatever cash I could make from them. Anyways, I got a few offers, but they never went through, and at this point, I was getting pretty desperate. I had to sell those books as soon as possible, because the authors would usually release new editions every year or so. I get this text message from a person who says they want to buy all my books. I simply assumed this individual was going for the same certificate as me, and required all the same books for those professors. At first, the person wanted to meet up at my place. I was desperate, but not completely stupid. I instantly objected, and offered a more suitable location, such as campus. The person said they lived in the opposite direction, and that it would be preferable if I could meet them halfway. I figured it was another poor college student who couldn't spend much on gas. I agreed, and sent a location to them that seemed public enough. I requested we meet anytime from noon to 3 p.m., simply because I had night classes to study for and attend at 7 p.m. The day of, I get about 10 texts from the person, constantly apologizing that they can't make that time frame. They beg me to meet them at 5:30 p.m. I genuinely felt bad for the individual and accepted, even though it was cutting it close to both my class and not wanting to deal at night. I ended up driving the 20 minutes to get to the gas station, and I arrived a little early, around 5:15. I was reviewing some notes for class, and then I got a text. "Hey, I can't make it to our meetup spot. Can we meet here instead?" I looked at my map, and it was an auto body repair shop that stayed open until 8 p.m. I figured why not, but noticed it was another 10 minutes out. I told him yes and drove out there. Now, I didn't know the area we were meeting in, but it had a ton of one-way streets and back alleys. Creeped me out to the max. I arrived at the destination, only to find out it was in the alley behind the shop. Not only that, but it was a one-way street, nighttime, and located in a not-so-great neighborhood. I texted this person asking where they are, and that I'm going to be late for class. No response. I didn't receive a response until another 10 minutes later. All the text said was, "Almost there." At this point, I'm beyond ticked off. and just focused on checking how bad traffic was to get back. I received a ton more texts from the person saying, "Almost there. Almost there." It was at this point a completely blacked out SUV's heading down the street the wrong way, with the headlights completely off, and the windows were completely tinted, at least 75% window tinting. I panicked a little inside, until I saw 4 people in hoodies get out. Then I panicked even more. All I had in my mind was to get the heck out of there. I couldn't go forward because their SUV was blocking the road in front of me. I freaking threw the car in reverse and floored it out of there. Once I got to the T intersection of the street, I looked at them for a split second, and they just stood there, with their hoods hanging over their eyes. I figured it wasn't worth the risk for $100 and just left. After that experience, I came up with 4 things for next time. 1. Bring another individual. 2. Never meet at night, regardless of your or their circumstance. 3. Meet in a well-known area and do your research. 4. Don't risk your life for some extra cash. I was looking to try and make some friends. Stupid teenager me posted in the platonic section of Craigslist to try and see if maybe someone wanted to chat. I was also very lonely. A guy answered, about 34 or so. Great. We started chatting. Some mutual interest. No intention of ever taking it anywhere, sexual or into the physical world. One day he tells me I'm attractive, and that I'm his sex slave now. I tell him I think this is really weird, and he responds by texting me, "Do you want me to kill your entire family? I know where you live, where you go to school. I can kill you in a heartbeat." Of course, this scared 17-year-old me. He had a list of demands, all seemingly simple. Write this on your body with eyeliner, send a picture of it, etc. Nothing I couldn't handle. I complied, scared out of my mind. He told me to create an ad for the hookup section, and essentially act as a prostitute for him. He wanted me to write prices on my chest, and rob anyone who didn't comply. I had sex with some people he told me to, but never did any money exchange, and planned to just pay this creep out of my savings. It got worse from there. He was obviously manipulative, and one day he told me to send him pictures. I was pretty decent at image manipulation, so I positioned myself in a way to make it look like I was naked. He was pleased, and I went back to completely wearing my pants. Later he wanted a pic of something else, and my dumbass forgot the previous no pants rule. He forced me, on camera, to take a knife to my knees until they bled, then kneel on the carpet. I was reaching my breaking point, and he sensed that. He upped the threats, describing in detail how he would lock me in the closet and use me as a sex slave at parties, how he would rape me non-stop and make me watch as he killed those I loved. One day, he pushed it too far. He asked what I was doing, and I mentioned that I was babysitting my 3-year-old cousin. He demanded that I take dirty pictures of her and send them to him. Demanded that I molest her on camera. That night I filed an anonymous police report, sent screenshots, and blocked him on everything. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the reports were ever investigated, or if he was arrested. I just know that he's out of my life. The police were alerted, and I'm safe. I'm ashamed that I went along with this for as long as I did. I had a lot of problems at the time, and they made me distrustful of reporting it. I should have blocked and reported him after the first threatening message. The only thing I did right from all of this is I never disclosed my actual address and full name to him.